average per capita income is about $1,000, which is some of the poorest in the world. Now, we are not going to say the church will come and say, let's preach to everyone, and tomorrow the per capita increases and multiplies. There are many programs. In Uganda now we have the tenfold program. I don't know how we will achieve tenfold in less than in 10 years. Tenfold from a GDP of $500 billion, and by the year 2040, we have from 50 billion to 500 billion. But we have very nice programs. Now, whereas we push for that, we go back to the individuals. Very many will be desperate very quickly. Everyone is studying to get a job. Now, the economies are small. In Uganda, we will have about 30,000 graduating from universities and upper colleges in 1 year. But the jobs being created are not even a tenth of that. So what do we do? I met some youth not too long ago, and speaking to them, I first asked them what their main challenge was, and overwhelmingly, they are talking about income, jobs, and money. So I first asked them, what is the biggest challenge? They said, we don't have, those who wanted to do business, they said, we don't have capital. Now, fundamentally, there is a mindset issue as well. So I asked them, do you have an idea how you are going to get the capital? And most of them said no. I said, that is the bigger problem. Because the church, we are discussing in the context of the church is not going to find money and give capital to all of them. And even fundamentally, the biggest issue is not capital. In Uganda, for the last 30 years or so, the government has had, I think, like 5-6 programs that brings seed capital to people under different names. Youth livelihood program. Now we have parish development model. All of that is giving money to people, but very few actually move away from the poverty line. Fundamentally, the mindset. If you go closer to the youth and talk about how you can do certain things, there will be a big difference. So I think as a church, we need to have programs of talking to the young people of how they can actually make money of their own, because it is not the lack of money that causes poverty. It is the other way around. Thank you.
So I want you to imagine that we are now talking to the bishops. They are listening to us. Francis, who is your bishop? Bishop Calist. They will be there in front of us, listening to young people, listening to the chaplains, listening to the parents. One concrete thing that you want a Catholic Church or your bishop to do to address the issues affecting young people and to give young people hope. If you can mention one thing, and I'm saying this even to the youth who are in the audience here, what is it that you want our bishops to do? To begin with you, Anna.
I give one thing or two? Thank you. One thing I would ask from our bishop is to help us categorize the youth, the educated on one side, those who are not educated, but of course they participate in the church and the community, and give specialized trainings to them about mindset change and how they can live a better life, both morally and economically. That one will help to liberate a lot of mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Any of the youth in the hall? Yes, please.
To me, I would request the bishops to support the youth programs in a context to say that not all youth can come to church by following the church activities. For example, we have a lot of youth who are lost, they don't know what they are doing, but to attract them to bring back to church, it's not all about that we have to be preaching to them what youth have got different programs. For example, sports, MDD. If you realize that in your diocese or your country, youth don't come, in case you call them for church activities, then call them for sports. Support them, they will come. Through that interaction, they can get to be attracted and they join the church, because they don't know that maybe being far away from the church, they are not taking a right journey. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw a hand behind you.
Thank you. I'll just say it in general, that the bishop, maybe they must have time, they must spare time with the youth, listen to them, know their challenges and their needs, so that they should find know their needs and the challenges, so that they should find a solution together and implement it. Because a lot of youth are facing challenges. They have the things that they know that if the bishops help us with this, I think the church and everything that they need can work. But because they don't have time to talk to them, so they don't really know what the youth are lacking or they need. Thank you.
Thank you. Raise your hand there and then you come on the side.
All right. For me, I would ask the bishops to introduce more youth empowerment programs, more especially in terms of economic issues. Because we have some of the youths who are not in school, they are not working, but they love the church and they love the youth ministry. So when we are also sitting with them, having some activities, we also feel for them. So if the bishops also can introduce more youth empowerment programs in a way that the youth can be able to live a self-sustainable life.
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
For me, I advise our bishop to empower youth, to give them supporting in loans, because as youth have tended to create something which is better than to do something which is which they will receive the money or employment. So like if our bishop has written our listening, most of you, that's when empowered to supporting loans, someone has been take it easy to make sure that he has been collaborating with others and been doing to the any activities in the church and many society. I think it is.
Jervis, you spoke also as parents. Do you have anything that you expect of the bishops to do for the youth? I mentioned your names because we are here, but if there's any parent in the hall, please, what do you expect? What should the bishops do to journey together with
Thank you. For me, I would urge the bishop, though not bishops, but the priest, we did most of the priest, accompany families to help families. We need priests in our company, even though we are parents, we've got our own challenges. So we need spiritual guidance from our priests, even the bishops.
Yes, maybe it's just kind of repeating, but to begin with, just to pay attention to the youth. We have dioceses where there is no chaplain for the youth, just to begin with. And during break time, I was talking to one of the youth here, saying he's been trying to meet his bishop now, not as an individual, but as a team, and they haven't been able to do it in more than 2 years. Now, if you can't even, and I'm not saying meeting the bishop is the magic wand that solves the problem, but the fact that if you meet the bishop, then the structure in the church will begin to listen more and look for solutions. So one is listen to the youth, talk to them, have special sessions, have a structure that supports the youth. But as already said, the fundamental issue is mindset, have structures that talk to the youth and go to them. Because every good thing starts with an idea. It starts in the mind. Many youth, I get many who tell me, you know these days you can't get a job unless you know someone. Yes, I know that's an issue. But it can't be that everyone who gets a job is because they know someone. Now, once you close your mind and say, I will never get a job unless I know someone in high places, then you don't even try. But also, if you can't get a job in that place, I know some who have not had jobs for 5 years, and the only thing they are doing is lamenting about not having jobs. That group will be big. We need to come together and be close to our youth. The bishops will, of course, facilitate that in the sense that they give us a framework in which to do that. That is fundamental. It will cover many things.
Thank you very much. There was a hand here and then there. And then with us. Yes.
All right. To my side, I think it's very important that we have recreational centers in either in our parishes or at the diocese level so that the youth can easily come together. Now, besides having the recreational centers, I know it will attract so many youth to come to the centers, maybe on a daily basis and so forth. But I'm also looking at, we should be having, in those recreational centers, we should be having entrepreneurship programs. We should be having entrepreneurship programs where the youth are trained on some of these empowerment programs so that they can surely go out and do maybe some activities that they can sustain themselves. But we should also, I'm thinking, considering that we are coming from different backgrounds, from different countries, we all have different experiences. Someone from South Sudan may be having more of a war experience, but if we can have exchange programs with other countries where we go and share ideas. I know there's so many activities maybe people from Malawi are having, but we are not aware. We don't know how they're handling these programs. But when we take people maybe to Malawi and we bring people from Malawi, they get to experience, oh, how are these people really handling their situations? We can have maybe countries who have experienced certain situations, let me say the war situations. How are these people handling maybe their situations with their youth in those countries, and how are these ones handling? And I'm also looking at, as part of empowering the youth, if we train them maybe on entrepreneurship skills, can we have programs for them that where they can have, for example, monthly bazaars for our youth people? Can we, like at the end of the month, we say, guys, our youth have been having these activities, they're producing this kind of products, let's come on board and support them. They showcase what they've done. People can buy, can say, like, let it be at a diocese level that everyone is encouraged to come for that kind of program. It's not only at the it's not only maybe at the parish level, but the whole church, maybe in that whole city, probably, like for example Juba, everyone is informed to come for such programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Yes. Then after that, we go to Madam Margaret.
Thank you, Father. I think from my perspective, first I'm Bill. I'm Joseph Bill Oguzu from Kenya, the National Youth Moderator. So I want to share some few comments from my end and an observation that I have made. I've been lucky to attend quite a number of conferences, both at AMECEA level, at second level, and here within our own national parameters. And I think there's something that is really coming out strong. From what I've heard and I've listened, even here today, they didn't seem to understand their issues. But there is no shortcut to solving the youth problems. That is where I want to begin from. There is no shortcut in solving the youth issues. There is nothing like a blanket cover of if I build a center today, I'll automatically sort the youth issues. If I give them jobs today, I'll have sorted out the youth issues. There is no such solution. That is the first thing I would like the church to understand. Then the second part is, I remember Professor yesterday was talking about the world is changing. We have so many dimensions coming up in terms of our social analysis, our perspectives. Yesterday, George was speaking about our human nature, our different. We have so many views, so many ways of looking at things. So what happens is, when it comes to these issues, there needs to be a multi-dimensional approach. If my bishop was here today, the first thing I would tell him is, you yourself need to go back, sit with your young people, then understand the issues of your pastoral area. You don't wait, it can't be a blanket. The youth in Malawi will have their own needs. There are things that will cut across equally, but there are things that will be specific to the youth of Malawi. If you bring one thing and then say this one goes for all, you get to the youth in Malawi and they say they still feel the church does not listen to them. Why? Because it was not contextual. It was not contextual. And there's something I like that has come up at the end where the president was mentioning something about young people not even meeting, never seeing or having, and these are leaders who have never had a chance to meet their bishop. I remember in my case last year at the diocese level, I went to talk to the bishop. It was difficult for me, and I am the national moderator. It was difficult for me to get an appointment to go and talk to the bishop, and I was going to present the young people's issues. They had noticed that the chaplains are not active, there is no one accompanying them, there is no one listening to them. So it was such a coincidence that it came just at the moment where Leo the 14th had just written the letter, the Lexite, I have loved you. And the first message is, he seems to acknowledge that there is another dimension of poverty. Poverty is not only those who lack money or riches, it was also those who feel they are abandoned, they are left out. So that dimension is what the youth sent me to go and speak to the bishop. And I could not get an opportunity until when I got his, when I was telling him, my Lord Bishop, we are lacking an issue, we have an issue of accompaniment, serious issue of accompaniment. And when I told him, he was shocked because according to him, the issue of accompaniment had been sorted. He has a list on his table of where I have a chaplain on this area, I have a matron here, I have a patron, but the young people are saying these people are not there. Not because that they are, and this brings another entire approach. That's why I'm saying there is no blanket approach. We can sit here, we can come up with so many ideas, but there will never be one concrete solution to all this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam there, and then I saw her also. I would like us to wind up this thing in the next 5 minutes.
Thank you, Father. Yeah, I will pray. Now, Father, my concern is the Catholic Church in my country encourages Sunday school, dividing the young children from the main celebration, and they go and divert them to a smaller group for them to pray separately. But there's no clear arrangement showing what the children expect and what we parents expect when the children go out there. There's no syllabus. I've not heard of any syllabus of which they arrange that Sunday school. And yet I have watched Pentecostal churches. They have a trick. They start from the young parents, and then the young parents and their young children are smoothly introduced into programs on at least every Sunday. There's a grouping of 3 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 18. You see, my daughters, 2 of them have got married to Anglican Church, and I see what they do in the apostolic church, their churches, the baptism churches. Now, they trick those parents and introduce very interesting programs and very attractive music and activities. The children are always eager to go to attend prayer there, unlike them coming to my church. So when they come to my grandchildren, they say our church is boring. They would rather do what? Go to the other place. And it also, because my daughters want the children to be happy and like church, they also prefer going to what? To the Pentecostal churches. So I imagine that if we targeted the young families, like we're having our youth here, if they get married or they are about to get married, or if they do, we target them also at every level in the church, that they go as young parents, bring the children, produce attractive programs, so that when the children come to the Sunday school, whatever the grouping will be, they are eager to come and pray. Then once they are there, we capture them there and hold them there. They will not think of running around and going to other places. So I request you, perhaps the team from AMECEA, we come up with a small program, a small brief syllabus, of which we've seen people, churches, like churches in Uganda, they create a syllabus for married couples. I've seen some churches, some don't. A syllabus, so that in 3 months, the married couple, the so-called bride and bridegroom who are going to be married in those 3 months, they study this, study that, so that they are not left, there's nothing left behind. We could create one, a short syllabus, grading it between 3 and 10 to 15, so that children look forward to go and attend prayer, and then we shall capture them from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me hear Father Fred, and then we go to the back. Father.
Mine has been covered by the youth from this leader from Kenya. One of the issues he gave is what I want to say.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Then we go to the back there, then I'll finish once again.
Yes. For me, if I put it like this for the bishops in South Sudan and Sudan, all the bishops in the AMECEA region, for me, I'm seeing that first thing that we need to do, all they need to do is integration must happen, like integration of authority and handling church businesses. In most of the cases, we see that it is only left for adults, like they don't see us as adults, they see us youth as still we are children, and do not involve us in most of the decision making and even in implementing most of the things related to church issues. You see, big people are sitting, gray hair, maybe elderly women. They only come and sit and discuss about things that has to do with church, yet forgetting that we form 75 and above % of the church as the youth. So they leave us doing nothing in the church rather than having our own small activities like choir singing, and maybe others they can join some other sports clubs and some things like that. And again, I wanted to request that in our context, they must include mental health care centers for youth, especially for the ones who are coming from Sudan or coming from Sudan to South Sudan or coming from some other parts of South Sudan, because nowadays youth are so traumatized with the ongoing war that is happening in Sudan and in some parts of South Sudan. And that hinders us from performing well in the church. Even sometimes some of the youth, they lose faith and hope in God and in church because they are not finding any consolation in church. So they rather go outside and have some, maybe drink and do some other harmful activities rather than coming to church and seek solace and find solace in the church. I think that's what I have to add. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Can I come to Madam? And after that, I will ask Father Anthony to make a comment in regard to this discussion and how it will take it forward. Madam.
Thank you. I just have two things to comment about. One, still I will revisit the formation of the child. The positive parenting, the last topic, talks about finance. And in finance is where we are learning that the child learns to become responsible at a young age. For example, let's say when you are doing finances, where are the children? You don't incorporate. So the child always thinks, even when he's in youth in secondary school, he just finds a check and goes to school. But he has not known where this money came from. So when you involve, maybe there's coffee, maybe it's about the cow, let this person get to know, I have gone to there to get a check from the milk of 100,000 to pay your university fee. So at one point, you also incorporate when this person is not busy, the youth, very positive. You see that stage, he's happy he's in school. So he even started learning that my dad or my mom can make 100,000 from selling just milk from the cows. So you've already put a mentality that even when this person misses the job, he can still start. I have a good example of a cousin who did the same. So the father usually used to tell him, even now that you're in the university, remember this cow is what is paying your school fees. Never forget that. So he continued, and at the times he could even go to sell in the morning when he's out of school. So by completing the college, the university, he went on, became a lecturer, so he started the farm. The boy was able to buy and started a farm. Today, having served for 10 years, he has left now the job because he feels the job is just taking a lot of his time, and he's earning more than 300,000 per month just from the farm, the cow farm, because he learned from that. So we really need to work with the children. We need to work with them so that they can be able to start. Even instead of going to tell them, this is what I did. If it is the eggs, if it's about the chicken, let's go and sell this tray in the market so that you can buy your pen tomorrow, so they can be able to give you pocket money. Mentally, that child will learn
It's not a must I wait to be employed. So he'll pick that. The other one is about, okay, the other one is about now the church. When we have, let's say, the CMR, the men know already what they want. So even if they get an elderly priest, even if they get an present but absent chaplain, they'll move. For women, somehow you only need a bit of guidance, but we really know what we want. But get now the youth. This is a stage where they really need to know. They have so much that they know, but just need somebody to streamline what the priorities. So my feeling as to support the chair is that not just chaplains, a chaplain who has the youth at heart. It is like when dealing with the youth, it's my fun. Because why they are suffering is you get all of the places they have chaplains. But you rarely ask that chaplain, what do the youth? He'll only be called when there is discipline. Your youth were found drinking beer. Your youth were found, so it's a disciplinary. Father Parish Priest, this is a case. Now today I stop this youth and get another leadership. So it comes that. So if only I would request, if let's say it's bishops who elect or it's the parish priests, we get priests who are at least they have that heart, they are able to walk with them, they are able to listen with them, and still can afford time. All these things we have said about creativity and all that. When there is enough time, they will do, they can even farm. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that contribution, and thank you very much to each one of you. Thank you to my colleagues in front here, Francis and Angwa, Charles, Jeffers. Before we conclude, I want Anthony to say a word in comment on what has come out here and what will be the way forward. And since we have a chaplain in front of us here, I'll ask Father Charles Kilonzo to close with prayer for lunch. Thank you. Just to thank the panelists here and the plenary for their contributions. We decided to do this as a trial. Starting from 18th of July to 19th. 18th is Saturday arrival, 19th opening mass Sunday, and then 20th, 21st, 22nd. These are 3 days of the start session. A good number of the delegates here present will be also part and parcel of that plenary. It is the tradition of AMECEA to invite the lay leadership. So probably 10 people who are here will be in that plenary hall. It has been resolved already by the bishop that it is a plenary discussing issues of the youth. We need the youth to be there. So we are going to have 4 young people from each country. They will be sitting there. And probably you guys who are here will be sitting there. In our plan, we have set to have a kind of a panel discussion like this one. The bishops will be sitting there, 130 of them. They are telling us almost in all of our countries, 60% of the education and health services are owned by the church. You are born in a nice clinic, you are brought up and you are here. You have been given an opportunity to study. We have trade schools here. And those who unfortunately do not have anybody to take care of them, my colleagues were speaking about children's centers here. And then they are saying, what else are we supposed to do? What else are we supposed to do? So they will be listening. They will be listening to you young people. They will be listening to the parents. what else do you want them to do? This city of Dar es Salaam, there's a population estimated to be 7 million. And the estimated population of Catholics is about 1.5 million to 2 million. They have 2 bishops, the Archbishop and the Auxiliary. The same for Nairobi, 2 bishops, and the retired cardinal. The population of Catholics, according to the figures I got from Archbishop Wanyolo, is almost 2 million. So when we are saying the bishops have to establish this, have to do this, have to do this, so they will be seated there. What do you want us to do? Are we getting my point?
Yes.
So this workshop here is also part and parcel of the preparations for the plenary assembly. Let's go down, reflect, discern, and look at the reality as that young person has said. We don't have one blanket answer to the problems, but the answer to the challenges we are raising, we are the ones to solve. The parents, the chaplains, and the young people themselves. So get prepared. So we thank you for what happened. Today is 19th of